In the 19th century, there was a cholera outbreak in Stockholm, Sweden, which claimed at least 3% of the population. With the aid of gathered data from the church archives, an analysis was carried out on the death experience during the cholera outbreak in Stockholm. And the data provided here just shows for a particular section of the church, which is the Katarina congregation alone. And we're able to use the Power BI to be able to analyze the data to see the rate of the deaths that occurred during that period, and then to see how the death affected the population. The data was actually in the Swedish language, but we were able to convert the information to English, and then also clean the data due to some unrecognized signs that were part of the language, the Swedish language. So the data was cleaned, and then it was also transformed to allow for easy analysis as well. So there were a lot of values that were replaced, and there were a lot of characters that were actually replaced. And then in hindsight, rather than using replace value, you could have just a conditional column could have been created and then use conditions to actually make the whole cleaning process easier. And then after the data was cleaned, then we now used it to create the dashboard to analyze the deaths that occurred due to the cholera outbreak. So we're going to close and apply now, and then we'll be able to see the analysis that was gathered with the data. And then just checking now, so we can go into the analysis page and see. And we can easily see now that the total deaths that occurred with the data that was for the Katarina congregation, the deaths showed that we can have for a space of 35 months, we showed a total of 248 deaths, of which 52.42 were male, while 47.58 were female. And then of that percentage as well, we have that the average average age of the people that died was 34 years old. The oldest age being 86, and then the youngest being a newborn baby that hasn't reached the age of 1 year yet. And then when we count the death count by age band, we can see that the adults were the most affected age group, followed by the youth. Then we have toddlers, infants, the senior categories, the child category, and then the teenager category. And then also we're able to check the death count by profession as well. And then although the first one shows unemployed, because a large number of the population then were unemployed, and then followed by an unspecified, because we could not specify the workers or the profession of the workers. At the moment, we did not want to classify them as unemployed. So, however, for the remaining week, we were able to see how the professions also broke down into based on the death, how it affected how the cholera outbreak also affected the professions as well. So most of the factory workers, most of the factory workers were affected, and we can see a high number of housemaids, and then sailors were also affected, and then journeymen were also affected by the cholera outbreak. And then we can see the variation, the frequency of the deaths by day as well. Like, so we can see that the highest count was on the 15th. That will be on the 15th month. And then we can see that's a total of 15 by the 15th month of the cholera outbreak. The maximum actually was on the first month, showing 16 deaths, and then the minimum death was is 1, showing that's on the 31st month, and then the average death overall was 8 deaths. There was an average of 8 deaths per day, and with this we're able to see how the deaths or the cholera outbreak affected the Katarina congregation in Sweden within the specified time frame. So thank you very much for joining me today, and feel free to comment and then share your thoughts about this dashboard in the comment section. You can also interact with the dashboard with the link provided below as well. Thank you and have a nice day.